I know what you're thinking. Why am I watching this guy do his laundry? I think I'm just trying to give you a little context and maybe just trying to relate to you on a personal, human level. I mean, I think maybe that's lacking a little bit, but that's not the point. The fact is, it's these kinds of tasks that have sort of kept me sane over the course of the last year. I've been unemployed for 10 months. It's been a long year. And like I was saying, it's these kind of things that have kept me sane. Being 45 and unemployed, and having searched high and low that whole time, well, it's definitely left me feeling old. Unemployable. Lacking hireable skills. I mean, the list goes on and on depending on how I'm feeling that day. Luckily, my wife and I are in a position where we've been able to absorb most of this. Certainly hasn't been without its trials and stresses. Thank you, my baby boy. Sometimes it's those little messages from my kids or a friend who snap me out of it. Kind of put things back in focus as to the good I do have going on in my life. Because that's been one of my biggest obstacles. Being blinded by the unforeseen or clouded by the perceived negative. And when I was wading in those waters the most, making the bed helped. Cleaning the house helped. Not only because it gave me a sense of accomplishment afterward, and I find that living in a tidy space tends to make me more creative and productive, but also because I feel like it's sort of the least I can do while my wife absorbs what has been this chapter of our life. I know she likes a made bed when she comes home. And I like when she's happy. So I try to make it a point to make the bed every day. That doesn't mean I always did. That doesn't mean I always do. But I aim for it. Taking care of these dudes has sort of replaced taking care of my own kids. They're grown up. They're in their 20s. They have their own lives, jobs, responsibilities, friends, hobbies. So having something to care about regularly, again, takes you out of your own selfish head. Kind of keeps your eye on the prize. Helping others and those around you. Caring for something other than yourself. They're not very good at conversation, though. Yeah, this has been the most demoralizing part of this whole thing. A couple times a week, at least at this point, I jump online and look for jobs. These are the moments I typically feel the worst about myself. For those of you who don't know, my day job was in the video production world. I did that for about 8 years. I've found that it's incredibly difficult to correlate those skills with just about any job that I've applied to. But I've certainly tried. But it's been like me yelling into a cavern, only to have my echo be the only reply. But it has not been all doom and gloom. There have been a lot of positives. Being able to lean into creative stuff, having the space and time to do so, again, it's helped immensely. So I leaned into it when I felt inspired. Painting is a new thing for me, and I figured, especially since my income right now is, well, lacking, why don't I paint a Valentine's Day gift instead of buying something? I found it worked out pretty well. I think that's the way I'm going to go from now on. It's like 50 degrees, and it's February, so, well, you gotta soak up that vitamin D when you can. Don't be gross. I'm definitely stepping out of my comfort zone here. There's a reason why you can't hear what I'm doing. And objectively, it's not because it's bad. It's just because I'm not ready for you to hear it. But you'll hear it soon enough. I'm working on a lot of music, and I'm finding in order to make sure it feels and sounds the way I want it to feel and sound, well, here I am.
For the last several years, I've been in the band Modern Witchcraft, and unfortunately, I had to leave. Now, first and foremost, I want to say that I love each and every one of those guys that I bonded with and played music with. Steven became and is one of my best friends and helped me navigate one of the most difficult chapters in my life, and for that, I'll be forever grateful. And while perhaps I didn't get as close to Sean and Cody as I would have liked to, I still shared many laughs, conversations, and good times with them. And I'll do anything for them if they ever need me. Except maybe have an open conversation about my leaving. But I let my embarrassment and anxiety get in the way of that. So Sean and Cody, I apologize. And maybe after I make this video, I'll have the balls to reach out and have a little bit more of a conversation about it. They're well aware that I'm not in the band. It's been a while. My leaving felt like it was what needed to happen for not just myself, but for the band. You know, in order for a band to be at the caliber that I felt I wanted to be at, you need to play and practice regularly. And logistically, my being in Milwaukee and the band being in Ohio was a nightmare. We really did do our best and tried, but at the end of the day, that will have been the biggest obstacle that we just weren't able to get over. In my head, it just never made any sense for the three guys to make their way with all their gear to Milwaukee when I could just take my stuff and go to Ohio, where the jam space was and drums were, and I mean, that's enough right there. But I took that on, and I took on a lot of responsibility within the band, and that was my decision. But towards the end, it just got to the point where, with that and some other things, I just wasn't happy, and music is way too important to me for it to be anything but happy and positive. And I know it was having an effect on the band, so I made the tough decision to leave. And it wasn't easy. I left twice in a short amount of time because I wanted it to work, because I loved being in the band, and I loved writing music with Steven and the guys. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't right. It wasn't right for everyone involved. And I will always look back on that chapter, even though we really didn't get to release any music that we wrote together. I'll always look back fondly on that chapter, and I'm hoping that I can still be any benefit or use to them going forward. And it's that experience, in part, why I feel like I have the confidence now to do what I'm going to do now, and that's revive the name or the band Wells. Some of you may be familiar. Steven and I, ironically enough, started a project during COVID called Wells, and I'm going to revive that band, revive that name, revive that IP, if you will, and that's going to be my project. I'm going to lead the band Wells and see where I can go with it. I have a lot of music that's ready to go, that's ready for vocals, and I'm gonna step out of my comfort zone and I'm gonna sing, and I hope people gravitate towards it and can relate to it and vibe with it. But I guess I can't really worry about that. I'm gonna lead this project in hopes of it becoming a full-fledged band, but baby steps. Because quite frankly, while I was in Modern Witchcraft, I was always trying to write songs that I felt like would fit the band and would compete with the things that Steven was writing, because I really respect and loved what he was writing musically. And in turn, I ended up writing what I feel is some of the best stuff that I've written musically, as far as complete melodic song ideas, songs that have groove and feeling and melody. You know, in my head, I have no business feeling this confident, but I'm gonna give it a go. I've already started laying vocals to 2 songs. The whole vocal thing is a new adventure for me. Again, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and doing something that I've never felt like I had any business doing. But man, the clock is ticking, life is short, and we gotta lean into the things that give us joy, because quite frankly, I look around sometimes, other than the life that I have with my wife and my family and my boys, not particularly thrilled with the world I live in. So I'm gonna do everything I can to change that, to add a little more light and positivity and creativity to it. I know I've had several projects, and none of them have really had a cohesive direction, but Wells is hopefully going to be the project that I actually see through. My intention for this video was not to be negative or somber, and if my tone is coming across that way, it's just because, like I said, the last year has been trying, and I'm nervous about this next stage. And I have to do all this also knowing I'm in the process of trying to find real paid work. And unfortunately, our passions don't typically end up paying very well. And the world we live in, you know, you can't feed yourself off of good intentions and creativity. At least I've been unable to do that. I still am writing and composing for sync placement, and that's been, you know, simultaneously super fulfilling, but also incredibly difficult and discouraging at times, but it's the nature of it. And even if I do see success in that, it's a slow game, it's a slow burn, it's gonna take years. So that's something also in parallel that I'm doing. But like I said, in the meantime, I have to find paying work, and my previous job allowed me a certain amount of freedom that I'm just frankly not gonna be able to find again. So here I am. Going forward, I'm hoping videos won't be this, you know, serious sounding or feeling, but wanted to kind of just explain everything, because I know a lot of you guys still do give a shit about what I do, and I am forever grateful for that. And the support that many of you guys have shown me, you know, being into my music, buying my music, supporting the things I do. I just felt like I owed you a little bit of an explanation. You know, and as for YouTube, I've kind of grown to hate what it's become. I don't want to be a salesperson. I don't want to try and pitch someone else's dream or ideas. That's not what music is about to me, for me. It's not what I want it to be about. And I've been pushing against that by basically just not making videos. And that's not the answer. I know I've said this before. I really am trying to figure out a way where I can produce some content that's going to, you know, give you an insight into what I'm working on and the things that I'm doing and the progress I'm making with Wells, and, you know, and things that I still find to be useful and helpful for those of you who are in this music production thing. So I'm going to do my best to try and step it up a little bit. So before this gets any more depressing, I just want to, again, thank you guys for giving a shit about me and my music. And I do look forward to this new chapter, and I hope you come along for the ride.